I want to do a quick review of how to do position versus time and velocity versus time graphs. So the first thing that I'll do is just kind of the generic way. And so if we've got a red car at 0.5 meters moves in the positive direction. So we can just do a sketch of this. I'm going to label my axes. Always take the time to label your axes. And then you don't need to label every single hash mark on your axes. So I'm just going to label that as 1, and this is -1. And then same thing with your seconds. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 6, 7, 8. So as I said, I'm just going to sketch these out. I can do red and blue. So red car is starting at 5, so that means at t equals 0, it's at 0.5, and it's moving in the positive direction. And the red car has a pretty steep slope, so I'm going to do a pretty steep slope. Okay. And then to this, we are going to add the blue car, same place. And it moves in the negative direction. Whoops, I have no idea why I did that. All right, I went crazy. So you might want to stop and do it for yourself, and then turn it back on and stop the video, do it for yourself, turn it back on, then see what I did. So the blue car has a much more shallower slope, and if we're doing this qualitatively, then I'm just going to draw it like this, same starting place and a much shallower slope. And then the other thing that I want to do is the velocity versus time. So we've got velocity, meters per second, and time in seconds. And again, you can, for this one, it actually doesn't matter if you put in lines. So go ahead and draw what you think they are. Now, the red car is moving at a constant positive velocity. So that is a constant positive value. Blue car is moving negative, so it's going to be below 0. And it is about half the speed as the red car. So I'm going to draw it like that. All right, if you want one more practice, here is one more practice. And this will be sufficient for the homework. Even though I say it moves for 8 seconds, you do not have to plot each of the points if you do it qualitatively. The next one, we're going to, just for another practice, we'll say red car at, I'm not sure why it keeps doing this. So red car at 0 meters. Moves negative, and blue car at -1 meters moves positive. So I want you to do position versus time and velocity versus time. Stop, do it. Okay, this is what I got. So x meters, and again, you don't have to label everything. I'm just going to go down to 1 meter. You need to have a couple of hash marks, but they do not all need to be labeled. And then my time in seconds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The red car starts at 0, and it moves in the negative direction. So we're starting t equals 0, somewhat of a steep slope. Also, you should probably want to label at least one of the seconds. So 1, 2, I'll do 2, 4, 6 is good enough. And then the blue car starts at -1 meters, and it moves in the positive direction, about half the slope. And so we're just going to have it do it that way. That will be sufficient. If you want to plot points, you can, but if you just want to do it kind of qualitatively, as long as your qualitative is correct, that will be good. Okay, velocity, meters per second. If you haven't done it, stop the video, do it now, then turn it on. All right, red car is traveling negative, and so it's going to be negative, like that. Blue car is positive and about half the speed, so it's going to look like this. So for the homework, this is absolutely sufficient. if you want to plot points, okay, this is how we would do it. So we'll say the red car starts at -2, and it moves in positive direction for 8 seconds. And my sole purpose in doing this is to remind you that you know how to plot points, you know how to do something like this. So we've got x in meters, time in seconds, and I'm going to say that the red car velocity, so the velocity of the red car is 0.4 meters per second. So first thing I'm going to do is time. Time starts at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It starts at -2 meters, and in 1 second it travels plus 0.4 meters, because that's what the velocity says. So it travels to 1.6. I know I should not have the meters there. Okay, and then 1 second later, it has gone another 0.4 meters, so that is minus 1.2. And then another second later, it has gone minus 0.8, minus 0.4. So every single second, it travels 0.4 meters. Okay, so we'll do our graph. So those are my points that I'm going to plot. And you also don't need to plot every single point, because we know that these are straight lines. So we've got x in meters, time in seconds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I ran out of time for 8. And also, I'm not very even. Take pride in your work. Do it better than me. So 1 and 2, and then -1, -2. So you can plot every point if you want to, but I'm only going to plot the 0 and then the other 0 where it crosses the x-axis. So I've got these 2 points. I've got -2, 0 seconds, and then I should label some of these. So 2, 4, 6. So my other point is going to be at 0 meters, 5 seconds. And then I'm just going to draw a straight line. Okay, that's what it looks like. You can plot all the points if you need to, but if you want to, it will not be wrong. When I was in high school, I would need to emotionally plot all the points. And then the velocity and time, constant velocity, you really only need to have one hash mark, which is 0.4. And you've got a straight line going across. That's it.